Locker, yes, those are great. Cubbies, great work. All right, so let's all say together, provide a space for students. Belongings, there we go. All right, moving on. Before we continue, any questions? Alrighty. We're going to move on to preparing the wall space. A nice good trick is to leave a blank bulletin board, and this is where you can display student work. So say somebody forgets to put their name on, you can put it up there for somebody to claim, or if somebody has really good work, you know, put that on there. It's like when your parents would hang things on the refrigerator for you, like for job well done. Make sure that you're not hanging up bad grades, because that's tying back to positive expectations that can really hinder a student's performance if you're displaying bad grades or non-examples. You also want to have your classroom rules in a prominent place and have a consistent place for your schedules and assignments. When you're during the first half hour, when students walk into the classroom, they should be able to get to their seats and immediately know what's expected of them by having those rules and their schedule always in that same space. All right, so let's try to do another choral responding. Display classroom rules. Yes, excellent. All right, are we ready to move on? Awesome. We're going to talk about preparing the bookcase. Now, we've talked a lot about do not obstruct your line of sight, right? So same thing with the bookcase. The only two differences is you don't really want to keep bookcases near the door. Does anybody want to guess why that might be? Yes?
Emergencies.
Emergencies, yes, that is one reason. Any other ideas as to why we might not want to have our bookcase next to the door?
I mean, they could be crowded up against the kids over there, they could be blocking the door, and just get a job.
Yeah, it doesn't allow for that traffic flow. Another reason is if you have materials on there that and having it next to the door, it's really easy for somebody to take something and walk out. So it's also a good way to make sure you know where your belongings are. All right. So I'm going to answer this next one for us. Do not place bookcases where they obstruct any lines of vision. All right, you ready? So for preparing the teacher area, you just want to make sure that you can move easily and are close to students. Good rule of thumb is maximum proximity equals minimized problems. Because if I'm all the way in the back of the room and Tommy's throwing something, I can't get there in time to stop Tommy. Granted, if we establish our behavioral management at the beginning of class, I shouldn't be seeing that problem, right? Again, like the bookcase, you want to place it away from the door because it obstructs, students can easily take something, and you want to be able to have that good traffic movement. Lastly, if you choose to have items on your desk as your personal property, you have to make sure that this is very clear to the students. Don't wait until a student tries to take something off of your desk. Make that clear from the get-go, okay? Anybody want to answer this next fill in the blank? What do we maximize to minimize problems? You want a hint? Do you want me to give you this answer? Yeah, okay. Maximize proximity. Okay, remember, maximum proximity equals minimize problems. Do we have any questions about anything that we've covered so far? No, alrighty. So effective teachers have their work ready. So preparing teaching materials, we're just going to fill in that nice blank. You just want to have your basic materials ready for the first week of school. Don't want to feel like a fish out of water. Want to have everything that you need ready to go, right? Good idea is maybe sending home a letter with a material list to students so that they can come into class prepared as well. Alright. Now there are two aspects to having yourself ready. There's having yourself ready before you even leave your home and having yourself ready at school. Does anybody know why we might prepare ourselves at home before going into school?
So you don't waste school time trying to be prepared.
Yes, that's a good one. What's another? Alright, maybe if I give you an example. Say I were to come in, right? You're my class. I come in the door and I'm like, morning, today we're learning about fractions. Because I've had a bad drive to school. What is that going to make your learning experience like? Annoying? Do you think that that would be a hard environment to learn in? Do you think that might bring your mood down as well? Yeah. So you want to have yourself prepared academically and attitudinally before leaving home. If you're in a bad mood, your students are going to be in a bad mood. So how might you get yourself in the right attitude, mindset before leaving your house?
No, I was talking to myself. You.
Listen to some good music.
Yeah, that's what I generally do when I walk to class. I listen to some good pump-up jams. Just take that time for yourself to really prepare yourself before going into that school. Right, when you're ready to move on, just give me a little thumbs up. Thumbs up. Excellent. All right. So preparing yourself at school, you want to keep all of your personal items, such as your handbag, wallet, in a safe and secure location. Right? You don't want anybody wandering off with that. You want to make sure that you have any emergency materials handy. Make sure you have a teacher's manual for every textbook that you're using. And then lastly, you want to make sure you have any daily forms in an immediate location. What's an example of a daily form?
Agenda.
An agenda.
Where to go?
Yeah.
Anything? No? About you? A folder. What is something that you give a student when they have to go to the bathroom? Bathroom slip, a hall pass, attendance slips, tardy slips. Those are all important things to have on hand. So let's do this last one. Obtain a supply of
Alright, so let's look at our guided notes.
I don't know the word for it.
Do a little
forms.
Forms, just forms.
Just forms. Super simple.
We need to write this down, but what's the most important thing to do?
All right. Lastly, this is the last thing we're going to talk about, and it's the rules of an effective teacher, all right?
Right.
So, number one rule, prepare. This is so important. That's why I'm writing it really big. Write it 3 times. This is a very important rule. All right?
Alright, so.
Along with prepare, we've got a second prepare, and that's preparing classroom for effective
Most
work.
important thing to do when you're preparing your classroom. Prepare your classroom. Prepare. Keyword. Alright, now I'm gonna take out your post test. We should start the post test on this one.
All right, number 3, this is, let's see if you can answer it. Going back to preparing the teacher area. What do we want to maximize? Proximity, yes. What are we maximizing our proximity to?
Minimize problems.
To minimize problems, but who are we
Oh,
making sure we're in close proximity to? Students. The students.
students.
There we go. And lastly, we have another prepare, and that's preparing a classroom environment that is organized and safe. Alright. We're gonna do a quick exercise before moving on to our post-test. Here I have our classroom.
She needs them.
Cards.
You don't have the cards?
No, I didn't get them. I'm so sorry. See, I've already broken one of those first rules of classroom management, right? I did not prepare. That was on me. All right, so I have a list of examples and non-examples. I want you to work as a group to figure out where these might go in the class, all right? And then we're gonna discuss it. Don't worry, there's only one right answer, so there's two examples and non-examples, so like. This is teacher's desk. That's a teacher's desk.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Yes.
You're supposed to put the right examples on here. Okay,
Yes.
I understand.
There you go. Now feel free to stand up, move around.
That one, obviously.
Pile clothes.
Pile of clothes, you think that that's a good thing to have in your classroom?
No.
No, yeah.
Just leave it alone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just leave it out.
Bad stuff over here. No, no, thank you. No, thank you.
The stuff that is,